Hello everyone, hope you are doing well. So as the loop series is going on, right, so we have seen use of for loop and while loop, right? So now we are going to understand what are the basic difference between for loop and while loop, and we'll cover some content, some keywords actually which does use in loops like break, continue, right? And pass is also one keyword that also used for some other purpose, okay? But break and continue we do normally use in loops only, okay? So let's understand what the difference between while loop and for loop. So that repeat code for every item in a sequence use, right? Then we have to use for loop. Repeat code for every item in a sequence, right? Repeat code as long as the condition is true, right? When do we use while loop? So we know that, right? With while loop we can provide the condition, but with for loop we do not provide any condition. So repeat code for the every item in sequence. So if we have one arrays, from the arrays you want to iterate the values, right? Then we can go with the use for loop. We have seen many examples, right? Let me show you some more if I have on it. I think we have covered in the last session, right? Many examples we have seen about that loop. Like for example here itself, right, we have this string like hello world, right? So if you want to display hello world completely, right, so we have used for loop. So what it is doing, it is taking the strings is array only, right? Which array means array of characters, right? A string is what? Array of characters, multiple character it is having, and it is what getting that step-by-step character. So first it will take and it will display, right? Same here, we have like one s is what? S is nothing like a one string that will give by the user, right? So you can see here we are not providing any condition, right? It is just directly iterating actually from the arrays. So that's why it is saying here, that's why it is saying the repeat code for every items in a sequence, right? And if you want to provide any conditions, then we can go with the for while loop, right? You can see with while loop we are providing the conditions. So with condition, if this condition will be true, then only this loop will be work. If condition will false, this loop will not be work. So that way we can understand the difference between for loop and while loop. Okay, I have covered details about the examples of for loop and while loop. You can look at previous videos. Okay, now let's come to this keyword break and continue. What is the use of break and what is the use of continue, and in which scenario we have to use? So break if we want to terminate the loop, continue if we want to skip the loop, right? So what does that means, terminate the loop and continue the loop? Let's understand with the example. Okay, so first example I have in front of you, like here I have one card which is having it's kind of array only, right? Card is what? It is an array which is having a value 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. Okay, here I am using items in cart, right? So what it is doing here, card is an array where items will retrieve value one by one from this particular array. So item will take first 10, right? Then it will check condition is true or not. So this time condition will be false. So whichever I am writing here, right, this 3 line, right? Sorry, this 2 line. This 2 line will be part of the if loop, and this is a part of for loop, right? Now let me remove this else. Now it is not required, let's say. Okay, so what is happening here? So I am putting here item in card. Okay, so card is array, from there it will retrieve the value one by one, and here it will check item is greater than 200. If it is there, then it will display. We can't process this order. Rest it will display all the items, right? So here we are displaying the items only one by one, right? So first it will start execution. So first it is a 10, right? Not greater than 220. Let's say we can keep the condition here like 30. Okay, so what we are doing here, we are checking item is greater than equal to 30, then we cannot process this item. So what the output of this code? First it will go with the 10. So cart will having a like all the array values, right? So item will pick the 10 only, and it will check the condition 10 greater than equal to 30. No, that time this will not execute, and it will directly say 10 only. Same like for 20. 20 is greater than equal to 30. No, then it will display the 20 only. 30 is greater than equal to 30. Yeah, condition will be true here. condition will be true here, then it will directly say we cannot process this order. That means the loop should execute 5 times, but here it will execute only 3 times. So let's run it. See here, it is giving 10, 20. After that, what happened, right? This condition will be true. So normally the break statement we do keep under the loop under any conditions actually, not like directly. If I will keep directly, right, loop will not work. So if you specific condition, if you want to terminate the loop, right, then only we have to use break. So always remember that break cannot be used directly. Like I can't use break like this. If I will use break like this, right, that means nothing will execute of this loop. That means there is no use of that loop, right? If I will keep some condition, then if I will try it, right, then it will work fine, right? So break is a one kind of keyword which will always use to terminate the loop. Okay, so that is the one use of the break statement. Now let's understand that one example of continue as well. So do I have any example of continue? Okay, let's take the same example. Here I am using suppose continue. Okay, and let me not write any this print statement here. Like this scenario, what does happen? So here normally what happen, right? It will directly say print will be out of this if conditional statement only, right? It is under the loop only. So first what happen, it will check with the 10, right? So 10 condition will be false. So condition will false, it will display the 10. For 10, 20 condition will be true, it will display the 20. And when it will reach the 30, right, 30 will directly say continue. So what continue will does, right? Continue directly send this to the loop itself. That means this print statement will not work. For 10, it will retrieve from this item and it will check the condition, it will display the this one. So the output of this program will be 10, 20 and 40, 50. 30 will not be displayed. Why? Because when it will reach to the, sorry, not 30, all for 30, 40, 50, right? If I will keep it like double equal to, then only it will not work for 30. Like for example, item double equal to 30, then what happen, right? For 10, it will come and it will check 10 double equal to 30, no, then it will directly come to this print statement and it will display 10 only. Second time for 20, right? 20 what? 20 is double equal to 30, no, it will directly display 20. Then 30 double equal to 30 condition true, then it will see the continue. So continue also we do keep under the if conditional statement only under the loop, not like directly, right? If I will keep it directly, right, that means it will, like for example, if I will not write this if conditional statement, if I will keep this continue directly here, right, that means there is no use of it. Even it is also saying that error, right? Unintent does not match any outer indentation level, right? So that means we have to check it under the condition only, right? So then what happen, right? If condition will true, this will work. Clear it? So let me run this code. So this time you can see I am getting 10, 20, 40, 50, but I am not getting 30. Because when it is reached to the 30, continue will start the working, right? So that is a use of continue actually. Okay. So continue does directly go to this loop itself, okay, and break does terminate the loop. So that only I have written here. So continue, if you want to skip the loop, skip for a specific condition, right, then we can use continue break. If you want to terminate the loop, it will directly come out from the loop and it will skip for the specific condition and it will start the it will keep going the execution, okay, like that only. Okay, now let's understand the other scenario as well. So that is a break and continue. Okay, now let's understand with this scenario. Okay, here we are using one thing like else, right? So how do we use else with loop, right? So the main thing that we are going to cover is use of else block with loop. So else block we can use with two way. One with if conditional statement and we can use this with the loop also. So how can we use this else statement with the loop, that we are going to understand. Okay, now let's see the example. So what we are doing here, we are just using a one card having a some item 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. right? And I'm checking here item in cart, right? So what I'm putting here, if item is greater than equal to 200, we cannot process this order. So it will check the condition here. If item greater than equal to 200, then it will say we cannot process this order, and it will break this particular loop, right? If it is break the particular loop, right, then what happen, right? This else block will not execute. Else block only will execute if no break will work. Like in this scenario, item is greater than equal to 200, right? Do you think this break will break statement will work? Okay, let's run this code to understand in a better way. So see what I'm getting here. I'm getting here all item 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Why? Because here it is coming with the 4, and item here I am putting under this card only. So here I am putting item is greater than equal to 200. So item will be what? Item is nothing like the value which is getting from this loop only, from this array only, sorry, from this array by the loop. So first it will retrieve the 10 only. So 10 is greater than equal to 200. True? No. It will directly display the 10, right? Then for 20, display the 20, 30, display the 30. Because this condition is not going to true, because no item is greater than 200, right? Now let me put it like 20 here. Then what happen? If item is greater than equal to 20, so first 10 it will display, because this condition will not be true, so it will not be break. And line number 20, at second line, right? This condition will be true, because item is greater than, or not greater than, but equal to 20, right? So it will directly say we cannot process this order, and it will do the break statement. If it is do the break statement, then what happen? Nothing will execute. I mean, this else block will not execute, right? So let's run this. So it is, let me rerun this. So you can see here I'm getting 10, and we cannot process this. Where is it written? We cannot process. We cannot process this order. I mean, this is if statement only, right? So here it is coming with the 10. With 10, it will display the 10. With 20, condition will be true, and it will directly say we cannot process this order, and this else statement is not going to execute. So if you are using else here, this else is not with this if. You can see here, this else is with the for only. That you can understand with the alignment, right? Indentation. So here this if under this for loop, but this else, sorry, if this if is under the for loop, but this else is outside the for loop. If I will keep it like that, right? Suppose there is space. That time this else statement under the if only. But here we are not keeping like that, right? We are not keeping like that. So it is outside of the for loop. That way we have to understand which is inside and which is outside, right? So in here what happened, right? When it will check for the first values, first value 10, right? So for the 10, it will say cannot process. Sorry, for 10 condition will be false, right? The condition will be false, and it will directly display the item only, right? And for second, it will directly execute the break. I mean, this condition will satisfy, and it will display we cannot process this order, and go to the break, and it will directly terminate the loop. So that way this work. So else block will work only if I will keep it like suppose 200. Why? Because this if statement, I mean, will not be true, and break will not work. So if you are using else statement with the loop, right, this will only execute if no break will execute. If break will execute, then this else will not be execute. So that way you can understand. Okay. Now let's understand the one more scenario like pass. What is the use of pass? Right? Break we have done, continue we have done, and else with the loop also we have done. Right? Now let's understand with the pass. What is the use of pass? Let's understand with the example. Okay, let's take here only. So pass is what? It is a one kind of keyword that we have to use to declare a one particular method or variable. Like for example, I am keeping here like def of m1. What is m1? m1 is a simple function only. So normally we have to write some body of it, right? I have to write some body of it, some print statement, some print statement, right? But what if I want to write this function, but I don't know what should be the body of it. I don't know what should be the body of it. Okay, that times I want to keep this empty here. So you want to keep it empty, that time it will be error. To remove this error, what we have to do, we have to use pass here. What pass does it do? Pass does say like, you are writing a one particular function, you are writing a one particular function with empty body. With empty body. So that way you can understand that pass means it is nothing, right? Or it is like not doing anything, right? So that is the one use case of pass, right? Other use case we have a like else as well. So let's understand the definition of pass first. Okay, what does it do? So pass statement, it is used when the statement is needed syntactically, but you don't want to execute any code, right? Syntactically I want to use it, but I don't want to execute any code. So you can see here I don't have anything, right, inside it. I don't have anything. It is a completely blank only here. There is no code will execute here. Only function declaration is there, right? If it is empty statement, if it is null statement and it won't do anything. So these are the some scenario where we can use this pass keyword, right? What is the use case of pass? Useful when you are still planning the logics but want the code run without errors, right? When you are still planning, you did not plan it, still planning the logics, right? But you have some method declaration, right? Method declaration, but you don't want to run this particular code. Sometime in the present class, so parent class, child class, that is also one scenario that we will understand. If you are knowing inheritance rule, right, then also fine. If you do not know, let's skip it now. Okay, let's skip it now. So pass we are keeping here like def m1 with pass. Now let's understand with one more example, like for example here. What is happening here? For I in range 100, right? What I'm saying here, I mod 9 double equal to 0, right? So this else is a part of this if only. This else is a part of this if only. So here we are keeping if I in range 100 and here we are keeping I mod 9 double equal to 0. So whenever it will reach to the 9 mod 9 double equal to 0, so it will display that one only, right? And rest of the part it will just pass. So else I don't have any body of it. I'm just keeping the pass only, right? So let me run this. So you can see here it is displaying all the element which is divisible by 9, right? So 0 is divisible by 9, then 9, because here we are checking remainder 0, right? Instead of pass we can write here print also, but that we will write it then if I have something to execute, but I'm thinking I have to write something else other than that, right? So what I will do here, pass. It could be used at any block, it could be used with any method. So pass means nothing here, there is empty. So else block will not execute actually here, else block will ignore, it will only execute the if block only, right? So we can use with if, we can use with else, we can use with method function as well. So here we are passing with the function, that means there is no body of the function, and here we are passing with the else, that means there is no body of the else, right? So here it will check the range with till 100 and it will execute only for those which is divisible by 9. For the rest of the part it will not execute. So that way this pass will work. Okay, so it is something like an empty body, something like that, or wherever you don't want to execute this particular block, we can keep it pass on it. Just pass it, okay, do not execute it. So that will not be executed. Okay, so we have understand pass. Now let's understand del statement. What are the del statement? Del is something like a delete statement. Okay, it is also one kind of keyword del in Python. Okay, so what does it do? Del is a keyword in Python. After using a variable, it is highly recommended to delete that variable if it is no longer required, so that the corresponding object is eligible for garbage collection. So here you have to understand that one thing, when do we execute the code, right? That time that code comes under the RAM, random access memory. Everybody knows, right, what is the RAM. So what I write in the RAM, whenever we do run the code, right, we want to remove the code as well at the same time. So that can be occupied by the other programs, right? Let's say normally we have 8 GB of RAM, suppose, right? So normally if I will run this 8 GB movie, then what happen, right? That RAM will be completely occupied. It cannot run any other program. So normally what happen, right? When do we run the code, right? When do we execute the code? That code will take memory in that particular access memory, right? Random access memory, RAM. And after finishing it, we want to remove it. So that is the use of its garbage collection here, right? So it is saying that whenever we are using the variable, and if we want to remove this variable, whenever we want to remove this variable from the memory itself, that time we will use del, right? What does it mean? Let's understand with the example. So let's go with this del statement here, right? Let's say here, okay. So let me remove this two thing. So what we are doing here, we are keeping one x variable, one print statement and one delete statement, right? So what is happening here? We are keeping x equal to 10. That means x is having a 10 value, and I'm displaying this print statement. And then after I'm doing del x, and here suppose I will display here once again the print x, right? So what does it do? Let's run it. So first it is giving me a 10, but after that it is going to delete x. So after deleting the x, right, this x is not available. So that's why it is giving me some kind of symbol, right? And it is giving me exception as well, right? So that means it is removing that x variable. So that means it is not going to use, or any purpose we can use it at any place, right? So this x is not going to use anyway, right? After deleting a variable, we cannot access that variable, otherwise we'll get name error. What do we get? Name error. So here I'm writing x equal to 10, and if I'm deleting the x and if I will display the x, right, that time it is giving me an error, right? So let's understand with this. So instead of accessing this here, let me access after the del only here. See, it is not allowing me. So it will give me one kind of exception. What is the exception? This could be name error, right? Otherwise we'll get the name error. So that we have to keep it once in mind. Del is used to delete the variables wherever we have to use it, right? And after del we can use this particular variable. So that means the variable is no longer available and will remove from the memories, right? We can delete variable by using del keyword. So that is used for delete the variables only, and it is mainly used for the garbage collection purpose, right? So we have seen some of the keyword today, right? What are the keyword? Let me recap it once, okay? So first we have understand the difference between for loop and while loop, right? When do we use for? What is the use of while? And then we have understand like the use of break and continue, right? And we have seen the pass, and we have seen the del keyword, right? So for keyword we have seen continue, break, pass and del, right? Break is terminate the loop, continue is just skip the loop, del is for delete the variables for garbage collection if it is not going to use, pass is just using for the empty, giving the empty body, and that statement will not be executed, right? Thank you guys, thanks for watching, take care, bye bye.